Hello and welcome, it's Pete here. And I always start these videos and I say I'm really excited about this, but I'm not just me, but everybody is really excited about this product. This is the Sizzix Stamp and Spin, and it's multi-award winning. Now, you think of the biggest craft fairs in the world. We're thinking of Creativation in Frankfurt, we're thinking of NAMTA in the US, of course. We won the Best Tool Award at both shows for the Stamp and Spin, which of course works with our stencil and stamp tool. So we're going to have a little overview. I'm going to tell you how to get started with it. And remember, if you like what you see, then on the Sizzix Hub, we will have lots of instructional videos getting down to the nitty-gritty of what makes this such a fantastic tool. So let's get cracking. So here it is. This is the first time I've seen one of these in its packaging, actually. Well, certainly the first time I've opened the packaging. So let's see what we're getting inside. This is, of course, the Stamp and Spin. This is the one that everybody's talking about. It comes dressed in this lovely protective plastic layer. As one might expect, it comes with full instructions telling you how to get to grips with it. You also get this little piece of mylar. Now this is used to protect, if you want to leave the Stamp and Spin on your stencil and stamp tool, this one protects it from any dust. But I'll put that to one side just for a second. Now, of course, this tool works with the stencil and stamp tool. If you don't know about this tool, if you're new to this completely, this is of course a stamp platform, but it's also a tool which allows you to register layered stencils perfectly. If you haven't seen this tool, then please go to the Sizzix website, check out the Stencil and Stamp Tool Hub. There'll be lots of tips and tricks, and it will show you how to get to grips with this and some of the wonderful projects that have been made thus far. So I'm going to put both the stamp platform, or the lid rather, to one side, and our stencil adapter, because we just need the base. Now, what you will notice is that each one has what we call a sticky grid sheet. And this is what holds your project in place. You can see mine is careworn. It's been through the wars, this one. I've used this quite a bit. It's still going strong. Of course, they will lose the tack after a while, but the good news is that we sell extras. I think they're in packs of 5 or 6. But they will last a long, long time. There is a good reason why we use adhesive sheets rather than magnets that you see in other systems, because it gives you the freedom. It allows you to use larger product. There are so many good reasons for having a sticky grid sheet. Now, let's take a piece of card. I'm just going to pop this in the middle like that. So that's in place. That's not going to move. That's not going to move. Sometimes with magnets, they can get knocked out of whack. So let's put it like this and talk about a Stamp and Spin. Now, it's placed onto the hinge like that. It doesn't move about. The registration is perfect. Let me lift that up, because what it's for is for creating circular stamp motifs, or wreaths, or garlands, call them what you will. So this shows you the kind of size, the smallest size, and the largest size that you can create, and all points in between. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at how this works. We're going to create a wreath from start to finish. Now you'll notice here as well, if I take this off, these concentric circles, that is a guide as to the size of wreath you wish to make. So from the top edge right to the center there. Also, you will notice these lines. There are 8 in total, because each spin is 1/8 of a turn of the wheel. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. And let's put my leaf there, for example. So because I put it on this circle, I know that this roughly is the size that I'm going to get. So like any normal stamp platform, your layering stamps adhere to this circle. And you know what, while we're talking about layering stamps, how about these 4 wonderful sets designed specifically to use this tool, or indeed independently of the tool. They're designed by the wonderful Lisa Jones. Some wonderful everyday phrases. There's the gorgeous fruit, there's your butterflies, and of course your florals and foliage. They are called actually Botanical Fruit, Daily Sentiments number 2, Nature Butterflies, and Garden Botanicals. So they were designed to work specifically with this tool, but as I said, they work completely independently. One of the great things I love about these is the strength of the line in each stamp, which means they will work together without looking like one is too heavy, one is too light. So we're going to start off with a leaf, and this comes from our fruit set. So let's take this, pop that on there, and that is where it's going to start. Now, at this point, I'll just slide this out to keep everything in the center, and I'll ink it up. And as with stamp platforms, you know that if it's imperfect, you can go again. That is the beauty of something like this. It's very forgiving. Now, once I've done that, here's where the spin part comes in. I simply twist and it clicks into place. So we're going to go all the way around. There we are. And then I will click it again. So you can see this is already starting to build up. Now, at this point, maybe I want to add another stamp. And let's take this little flower, for example. So this is from a floral set, and I'm going to put it kind of between the 2 leaves like that. Now, when I bring this down, actually, now you know what? Let's turn it. I'm making a decision. I should think these things out before, but that's the beauty of it. There's no right or wrong. There really isn't. So we'll bring that down, and you'll see another stamp has joined the party. So now I'm going to ink both of these up, and this is going to follow it round. So when I make the click, that clips into place. So we're building up a wreath. Now, you can do these one at a time, or you can keep adding in stamps as you go along. Where you see the gaps, you can just add. So, for example, now, if I want to say I need a little bit more, I'll put a daisy there. Then another one has joined the party. So I'll ink all of those up. And of course, when the leaf comes to the end, we simply take that one out. So I'm going to make my spin again, and they're all in place. That's the beauty of it. It really does register perfectly every single time. When we showed this at our trade show in Frankfurt, the response was universally positive because, see, now the leaf has come full circle, both literally and metaphorically. So I'm going to spin that again. I'm going to keep going with the other 2. Yeah, when we showed this, it was straight away, people understood it, people got it. Now, when I first saw it, I wasn't entirely sure, to be honest, because I thought, oh, it sounds like a bit of a toy. But this is a serious piece of kit. Whether you're a lifelong stamper or it's a hobby maybe you're just getting into, or maybe you've not considered stamping before, but something like this is going to change your worldview on the art of making. But there we are. So we've got one more, and see how by adding those as we go along, we can create this beautiful wreath. Now, that could have been anything. Think of all the stamps that you've got in your stash that would benefit from a tool like this. I know I've shown you the ones that Lisa designed, but imagine what you have in your stash. There could be phrases. It could be anything at all, whatever you have. Now, I'm going to take this one away, because if you think that that is fabulous, which it is, even if I do say so myself, and I'm not taking credit for that, the tool must take all the credit. Because, now, that was building a wreath. Now, I want to show you something else. This is about building a pattern, a perfect pattern. Now, you can put this on a stamp block and go around and stamp like that. Yeah, great, you know what, but some are too close together. Some are not perfectly inked. So it's always going to be imperfect. I want to show you how to create the perfect pattern. Now, this time I'm working towards, and you see I've got some black ink marks on there. They'll wipe straight off afterwards. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little leaf kind of near the center. So that screw in the center, that's the center. I don't want to put it too close. And this is different every time. This is really cool. So let's ink up that leaf, and we'll bring it down like so. Now, this time I'm making 1, 2. So that's 2 clicks of the wheel rather than 1 when we were building the wreath. And then I make 1, 2 again. I ink 1, 2. And I want you to look at, now I'm working quite quickly today. I'm working quite quickly, but look at how perfect they are. I don't need to go over them again. They're absolutely spot on. This is really cool. Now, let's take this. I'm thinking about, from pattern building perspective, I'm thinking about that white space there. And I want to keep that negative space, as we call it, that level of consistency. I want to maintain that. So I'm going to put this about there. This kind of thing, it does require just a little bit of practice. But you know what? That's what your junk mail's for. Don't throw it away. Keep it, use it, play with it. The back of a cereal packet doesn't really matter. That's where we get our practice in. So when we come to work on a piece of pure, pristine white card, then we're already there. Can you see this building as a pattern? So it's not building as a circle as before. Now, I'm looking for gaps and I'm thinking, that's going to be my next one, something like that. So you can see it makes a very faint ghosted image from the last impression that the stamp made, but then because, again, as it's a stamp platform, it's going to get covered up. Now, we're making 2 clicks every time. So with the pattern building, we do 2 clicks. With the wreath building, we do 8 clicks of the wheel. And you know what? It's so ergonomically designed. So you lift it here, you make that little turn. You can feel that click into position. And there's the 4. So you see, with this time, rather than a circle, we're almost kind of building a square. So where's my next one going to be? This could be absolutely anywhere. I'm going to start there. So as we go around, it's getting bigger. We're pulling further away from the center. Another 2. So I'm really racing with this one. Obviously, you know, if I were doing this for a project, I would take just a little bit more time. But the truth is, not much more time. And again, that's one of the wonderful things about this. It is so quick. It is so quick. It's hard to get it wrong. It really is. Let's pop that one there. So I'm sort of judging. I'm going by eye. There's no measuring. It's very, very intuitive. Whether you're an absolute beginner or an experienced maker, doesn't really matter. It's one of those tools. It's a great leveler. It's a great leveler. No matter what level you consider yourself to be, it's something that beginners can use, children can use, you know, anybody can use, and they will get exactly the same amount of pleasure out of this as I do on a daily basis. So there we are, we're just building, creating that wonderful pattern. And then the last one. Now, I'll leave it at this point because, wow, how about that? And look at the kind of the visual harmony that this has got, because even though I said it was you know, it's creating square, can you see how these sort of form concentrically? And there's a wonderful harmony to that. So we'll just take that off, crop it down to size, or you can go onto the size of paper that you want to use for your project. What I like to do is work on a larger piece and then crop it down. Now let's see some great examples of how we can build patterns. I'll just take that away from there and put it to one side because I want to show you some samples. So that's the one that we've just done. How about using these for card backgrounds? There we are, just a little bit of watercolor. Remember this flower? This was the one that we used in our original wreath. There it is, looks very different, obviously with the blues there. The leaf, again, there she blows. That's the one that we used in our original. And then this one, finally, this one is the one that we've just done. See what an effective pattern it makes. This pattern is a bit tighter than that one. So you can bring it closer together or further apart. It depends where we start in the center very much. Now, how about using them for these lovely box lids? So we've created these gorgeous little boxes with our award-winning scoring board and trimmer. That's something else to check out. So there you go, just very simple patterns using colored inks. The fruit, everybody loves the fruit. But check these out. These were little patterns. They haven't made it into projects yet, but I just wanted to show people the kind of thing. And look at the watercolor and look at the way it comes over the edges. So you don't need to be an expert watercolorist. It's quite childlike this. And finally the pears. And how about turning it into a little notebook? If life gives you lemons, get a Stampin' Spin. There you go, that's what I say. Now, coming back to our original, I did say that we can build up different sizes from very small in the center to very large on the outside. And let's have a look at some of the projects that we've created doing just that. Now this one's a lovely circle card. There we are, bearing the legend Big Hug. This shows how you can batch make with these as well. You know, you can put your card down in the same place each time and create that lovely circle. And you can just go through, because obviously these stay in the same place to create that. Then we have that one. Now this is quite interesting because what you'll notice is that I've actually created a mask there. So I've fussy cut around a stamped image and placed it over there. So when I put the leaf over the top, it doesn't go over that pear. We'll talk about that in a second, actually. There we are. That's another pattern. You can see that sort of square forming in the middle. We've got the lemons, and finally, let's bring in the oranges. I left the leaves white. I kind of like the way that was working. I didn't want to go in there with any more color. If you want to work on large-scale projects, and this is a bit careworn, unfortunately, but this is something that I did. So we're working with 12 by 12 here. The beauty of the stencil and stamp tool is that it has no edges, so you can have a huge project. You can put it off to the side, you can put it down to the base, but you can get something like this going on. So those are just backgrounds. There's another one that's come right over the corner. So you would literally stick your project there like that and just make that kind of quarter circle. The other one was put there, but because of the size of the tool and because it has no edges, there are no limitations to your creativity. So let's take one more. Let's look. This is a lovely little frame. What we did with this, I used distress inks and I applied the ink to the stamp and then spritzed it before placing it down there and just worked all the way around like that. So that's just a few to wet your whistle. I did talk actually, didn't I, about, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this, because when I said about, you know, the masking, what you do is you stamp onto a thin piece of paper, trim around that with your scissors. And when you make your first stamp image here, you simply place that over the top as a mask. So when you come around with these other stamps, they don't go over the top of this. And I will show you some examples here of how that works and how effective that is. Look at this one. This is, I can't even remember where I started now. But yeah, you put your mask every time you go over the top, you just keep placing that mask and repeating that. Now, that's kind of an odd one with the pears, but you know what? Think of all the things. It could be the butterflies. It could very well be the butterflies. So there's another one. Place the butterfly, do the fussy cut, and then that masks it off. And there's a great example of that with all these concentric wreaths coming around there. So we start in the center and work out, or start on the outside and work in. It doesn't really matter, if I'm completely honest, folks. Let's take a look. So that's a nice big wreath, just very, very simple. This one actually comes out right from the center. We use gray there. Again, starting with the smallest and building outwards. Then when you trim it down, it just looks like a completely flooded pattern. Now, two-tone. So we start with the dark one in the middle, and then we use gray ink all around the outside. So here you go. It's just a few more examples which have not made the cut, but you know, the gray, wonderful exercise. Oh, how about using your embossing ink? So you can do that with embossing ink, and then use your embossing powders over the top, as we can see with this white and gold example there. So that just about wraps it up. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this little trip. Well, it's a trip down memory lane for me because I've been working with this for quite some time. I'm just really excited to be able to share this with you guys because it is a product that we love and we really believe in. And we know with the awards that this is one of those two wonderful awards, and the response that we've got from folks about the Stamp and Spin, we know we're onto a winner. So thank you very much. And if you do want to find out more, obviously go to the Sizzix website, go to the Stamp and Spin Hub. You will see tons of projects. You will see tons of videos talking about some of these little things individually. This is just an overview. There is so much to discover about this wonderful tool. I've been Pete, and I'll see you again soon.